All right, everyone, listen up. This is an immediate, authoritative Code Ninja security advisory. A self-propagating worm has just completely shattered our fundamental trust in software supply chain security. By the time you realize your automated CI/CD pipelines are deploying malware, it might literally be too late. I'm issuing this explainer today as an urgent, coordinated vulnerability disclosure to force mitigations against a massive, self-spreading supply chain attack. Let's dive right into this intelligence so you can lock down your perimeter.
We are looking at a CVSS severity score of 9.6. 9.6. But honestly, what's really terrifying about this score isn't just the sheer severity, it's how it was achieved. This vulnerability represents an unprecedented bypass of SLSA Build Level 3 provenance controls. Established process integrity controls, the ones we all rely on, have been entirely defeated from the inside out.
To give you an idea of how incredibly fast this thing moved, 84. That's the number of malicious package versions the threat actors managed to publish across 42 different @Zanstack namespaces on the NPM registry. And get this, they did all of that in under 6 minutes. Every single affected continuous integration pipeline immediately became a brand new distribution vector, enabling this exponential spread.
Let's quickly walk through the timeline of the 0-day to understand exactly how fast a perimeter was breached by the threat actors known as TeamPCP. So on May 11, 2026, GitHub Advisories released an initial advisory at 1712 UTC. By 1816, the National Vulnerability Database published the first details. And then bam, between 1920 and 1926 UTC, the attackers executed their massive automated payload injection.
Okay, before we get into assessing the specific damage, we need to pause for a quick comms check. As defenders, you absolutely need real-time tactical intel to survive automated campaigns like this one. So I need you to subscribe to @cybertech79 right now to enable notifications for active threat updates. And once you've secured that link, drop a like on this explainer. Treat that as your formal acknowledgement, your ACK protocol, that you have received this intelligence.
All right, moving into Phase 3, let's assess the actual blast radius here.
The fallout from this attack is just immense. We're talking remote code execution, authentication bypasses, and massive credential theft. And the victims? They represent the absolute apex of the tech and governance sectors. GitHub had roughly 3,800 internal repositories breached. Mistral AI suffered codebase access compromises. The EU Commission actually saw over 90 gigabytes of data exfiltrated during an earlier wave of this campaign. But look at that first bullet. This is absolutely critical. OpenAI confirmed that code signing certificates for their macOS, Windows, iOS, and Android products were stolen straight from their internal source code repositories. So how did they pull this off? Let's break down the SLSA bypass protocol. How did they do all of this without tripping our alarms? Well, the answer lies in a highly sophisticated 3-part attack sequence. First off, the attackers exploited a pull request_target misconfiguration, which allowed them to run their code within a base repository's trusted context. Second, they poisoned the GitHub Actions cache directly across the fork-to-base trust boundary. And finally, and this is the truly devastating part, the attacker-controlled code extracted short-lived OpenID Connect or OIDC tokens directly from the Actions runner process memory, exchanging them with NPM for full published credentials.
This really highlights the terrifying reality we are currently facing. In a traditional attack, an unauthorized user publishes bad code. But here, with Mini Shai-Hulud, the malicious packages actually carried valid cryptographic SIG-store provenance. They literally passed SLSA checks. Standard verification tools totally failed to detect the compromise because the attackers hijacked the legitimate release pipeline itself.
Now please listen carefully. This is a critical alert regarding a dead man's switch. I need every single security team watching this to throw out your standard incident response playbooks right now. Seriously, halt them immediately. If you follow standard protocol, you are going to destroy your own networks. This malware contains a dead man's switch. The payload actively pulls stolen GitHub tokens every 60 seconds. If you realize you're compromised and you try to revoke that token first, the malware detects the revocation and triggers a recursive file deletion, a full rm-rf/users command that will completely wipe the host system. The attacker explicitly designed this to weaponize our own incident response reflexes against us. Because of that trap, you must follow this exact sequential disarmament protocol to survive. No cutting corners here. Step 1. You must find and kill the system daemon before doing anything else. Step 2. Neutralize all persistence hooks. Only then can you move to Step 3, rotating your GitHub tokens, NPM tokens,
AWS credentials, Kubernetes secrets, and Vault tokens. I cannot stress this enough. Neutralizing the system daemon must happen before rotating any credentials.
To actually rip this worm's persistence out of your developer endpoints, you've got to audit a few specific targets. First, you're hunting for a daemon called GH-token monitor. You also have to audit your developer IDEs. Specifically, you're looking for injected tasks within .vscode/tasks.json. And importantly, check your AI coding agents too, hunting for hooks inside sumo/claude/settings.json. You have to clear these out first.
Okay, let's look at the bigger picture now. Proliferation and the open source carnage.
Having secured the immediate perimeter, we've got to look at the wider battlefield, because this threat is evolving rapidly. Tracing the 4 generations of the worm, it started back in September 2025 as Shai-Hulud, which introduced basic credential harvesting and self-replication to NPM. By November, Shai-Hulud added wiper functions. Then, March 2026 brought sandworm mode, adaptively targeting CI/CD pipelines. And now, we are facing the 4th generation, Mini Shai-Hulud, which has escalated to full cross-ecosystem propagation, actively spreading across both NPM and Python's PyPy registry.
And here is where it gets worse. The threat has literally multiplied overnight. TeamPCP officially open-sourced the malware code under an MIT license. They're quite literally calling it open-sourcing the carnage. Even worse, they launched a $1,000 bounty on breach forums for whoever pulls off the largest supply chain attack using their code. This has sparked an ongoing, massive wave of active copycat attacks. For instance, we're seeing a rival worm called PCP-Jack spreading rapidly through typo-squatted packages as we speak.
You might be wondering, why are we doing a coordinated vulnerability disclosure for something this wildly dangerous? Well, because users need to know how to protect their systems from their own automated defenses. If we'd kept this quiet, defenders would blindly follow standard playbooks, revoke their tokens, and detonate those booby traps on their own networks. You needed this precise intelligence to avoid self-destruction.
Which leaves us with a rather provocative question. At what point does SLSA need to be completely rethought as a control, given that it can be flawlessly satisfied by an attacker who has weaponized your own build pipeline against you? Simple provenance verification is clearly no longer enough. Go audit your pipelines, pin your dependencies to commit SHAs, and neutralize those persistence hooks. This has been a Code Ninja Security Advisory. Stay secure.